Hi, my name's Jack Soul. Thanks so much for stopping by this YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. Welcome to the class of 2025 Worship Pedalboard Rundown. I'm really happy with the pedal selection that I have, and I've gone through some iterations of this board over the past few years, and I'm happy with where the routing's at and how I'm using each pedal, and I can't wait to get into all that. Coming up right now is an intro track. It's a worship song that I wrote. All of the sounds, excluding the bass, is using this pedal board. So all the guitar, all the synth, all the textures, it's all using this pedal board. And as soon as the track's done, we'll get right into Signal Chain. So I hope you enjoy. I want to know you better. You're the one that gets me through. You're the one that gets me through. Oh, you get me All right, so I'll be showing some footage of the back and side of the pedal board as I kind of explain the routing of what's going on here. But I'm just going to go through the pedals in order of signal chain and talk about them as I go through the order. And everything, by the way, is running into the Strymon Iridium. The Strymon Iridium is the GOAT amp and cab sim. I don't think anything out there can beat it. I'm going to try and prove it to you in this video today. But this amp and cab sim delivers on all fronts, in my opinion. And not only that, but I don't really tweak my amp and cab sim, and I don't use different amps or cabs during my set or anything like that. It all stays the same. So I really enjoy that the Strymon Iridium just sits there and delivers like a amp and cab sim should. So that's where everything is routed to at the end of the chain, and then it goes right into my interface. So first off is the Strymon Deco. This is the V2, which is pretty cool. I think this is one of the best pedals ever made. And so on the back, I'll show I have the Temple Audio 4x input output, which I use with several different features of the board. So I'm going into the board, into the Deco, and the left output is going to the Sparks, but the right output is sending another mono signal. So it's sending dual mono out to my Gibson Falcon 1964 amplifier. And the cool thing about this amplifier is that you can turn down the output volume all the way, but when you turn up the reverb volume, it's on a separate channel. So you can have 100% wet reverb coming from this 1964 Gibson Falcon amp, which I think is so cool. Like, that's one of the coolest features I've heard about in an amp. So here's what the Deco sounds like, and then here's what the spring reverb sounds like coming from the Gibson Falcon, which is mic'd up with a SM58. So that's the cassette mode on the Deco, and here's with the spring reverb, which, by the way, I kind of felt the need to add this because I love spring, and the Mercury X doesn't do spring reverb the way I like it, at least. I don't know if I can call it bad, but I just don't resonate with it. So here's the spring reverb from the Gibson amp. So it's just got the perfect spring sound, in my opinion. It's lush. It's got that drop. And then I have vibrato over here, which this combination right here is I would say almost my desert island sound already. So here's the desert island. So the Deco stays on the whole time. I'm going to turn the spring reverb off for now. Here's what that sounds like again. And we go to the Kinotone Sparks. So this pedal does a huge amount. And first and foremost, I use it as my second stage overdrive. Here's the humbucker. So this second stage overdrive, it's just got the right stuff. In my opinion, we can raise the gain up a bit. And it's got a little fuzz breakdown kind of attributes in it, which I really love. And so with the Sparks, though, you can see I have my key step set up over here. I'll just go to one of my favorite settings on the Spark. So it has a MIDI synth engine in it. And that's why it's so early in the chain, or else I'd run it stereo, which I still want to. There's some rerouting that could happen. But basically, I run the synth engine into the EQ of the GFI so that I can kind of control more of the level. Because it's after the Deco, I find the level is a little bit too low compared to what I want. So here's what that sounds like anyways. And I set up this specifically kind of to start as a pad. And I think pads need movement early in the algorithm. So start with that kind of movement on the Sparks, so that when I continue to add stuff, so this is what it sounds like without the EQ. Just quieter. So usually what I do is I'll add the Fairfield. And that just makes it sound amazing right off the bat. And then I'll add the haze setting from my Microcosm, and then a small reverb from the Mercury X. And if I want that smoother, I'll bring down the filter on the Microcosm and up the mix. So I think it is so amazing to have a little EQ or a synth engine on your pedal board. And so that MIDI is heading to the MIDI box 4 by Disaster area on the side of the board and going right into the key step. And the other algorithm that I use on the Spark is, and I used it in the intro song. It's almost like a feedback synth. And so I can control the release here. And the bits. So it's really feeding back there. Octave down on the LVX. Octave up on the Synthia. Hologram really tames it out, and maybe add some gen loss and mood, and just a simple reverb on the Mercury X. So there's some super fun sounds to play around with in the Sparks. And again, I think you'll notice I don't have traditional MIDI. I'm using MIDI with the Spark, but I don't have traditional MIDI. I've had it, but it just interrupted my workflow too much to keep on my board, because I wanted to make everything a preset, and it just kind of drove me crazy. I think it's just my personality. But yeah, so like you saw, I was using the EQ and the octave, and the octave is something that I use a lot with the overdrive. So love the GFI, and basically it's my catch-all for if there's just something that I'm not achieving with the rest of the board, even though I've got lots of firepower in the Chroma console. The Chroma console doesn't do everything, and it's not as traditional, so I kind of go with the traditional effects in the GFI and then head over to the Chroma console for more I would say creative multi effects. So next up is the Fairfield, and I'll add reverb on the Chroma console, but this pedal is one of my favorites. And here's reverb. It's got a very synth-like sound, and when coupled with other things like this Boss setting on the LVX is a harmonizer, and it just sounds so cool. Forgot what key I set it in. So the digitalness of the Boss not tracking properly is not, or sorry, the LVX not tracking properly. It's not its fault, because it's got vibrato and reverb first. That's never going to go over well with the harmonizer pedal. But moving along up to the Chroma console, I use this so much for the haze and the hold feature. So if you leave the mix around 3/4 and you set a pad, then I can turn on another reverb even before it, so it's not affecting the pad. And really like that. The warp algorithm is one of my longtime favorites on this pedal. And the glide. Again, that's so full of textures, which brings me to the Chroma console. I love the reverb vibrato combination on the Chroma console, and this is the majority of what I use live. Of course, there's lots of other stuff going on that I use kind of more at home when I'm working, but for live worship, I'll put on another bigger reverb down the line. This is truly an inspiring pedal. Obviously, if you want more deep dives, I have videos on most of these pedals on my YouTube channel, so you can surf around in the on my channel to find those videos. LVX is super simple. Again, what I use live is super simple. So this is a Shut Up and Dance by I forget who it's by. Put it in the comments. But essentially some dotted eighth. It's a pretty busy algorithm. Tape. And the most simple kind of fade into the background. I think that's a really nice algorithm. Again, I use lots more, but in order to keep this video under half an hour, this is my chorus reverb, one of my favorite sounds. I almost don't use chorus without reverb, so sometimes I'll pull up a chorus on the GFI, but I don't, again, use it too much without reverb, so large reverb. And room that goes really well with the spring reverb, which I'll show you. And here's that with spring, and that will make it easier, or that will make it stereo as well, because the Mercury X is in stereo. So here's that with spring. Super potent combination. I love it. I can't believe we're already to the Chasebliss section, but I just wanted to remember to say it's mono, 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 and then it changes to stereo up to the microcosm, Chroma console, across, and then straight through the Lossy. and my amping cab sim is the Strymon Iridium. I love that amping cab sim. So for mood, I use primarily the tape and the slip. So here's kind of example of what I go for with the tape and slip. Okay, cool. So then I'll throw on the slip. So I like how the lower you get on the clock, the more 8 kind of bit crushed it sounds. So the sample rate's been reduced. And again, I keep these on the board for a lot of texture stuff when I'm adding like a pad sound in a song. But I love using the mood with the gen loss. So here's kind of something like that. There's a lot of dead space. Turned it to reverb there, and then into the gen loss. Just creates an absolute vibe. And again, like the gen loss. You can use that to just add texture to your rock tones or really get a big ambient line going. And just let it do what it does. Finally capping it off with the Chasebliss Lossy. I love the reverb and the filter options on this pedal, but simply this is pretty much what I go for most of the time when I'm using the Lossy. It almost has like a camera fallen underwater sound. I just love that. If I kind of put on the shallow water first. It's just an amazing sound, and like I said, I have the Strymon Iridium going right into my interface stereo. So that's the board. Let me know if you have any questions, comments. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. Let me know what I'm underusing. Let me know the settings you like on your pedals. There's so much firepower here. I can't wait to just interact in the comments. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll catch you in the next one.